I talk a lot about suicide, and I don't think people really realize that accidental suicides happen. And you're a good friend of mine, you're an EMT. Have you ever experienced accidental suicide?
To answer your question, yes. Yes. Okay. Sad, but yes. There have been, through the 10 years that I've been doing this, there have been times when we have gone to a suicide attempt or anything like that, and the patient has taken, some drugs, thinking that they are trying to commit suicide, realize, oh, I don't want to, but then by then it's a little too late. So, but the one that sticks with me the most, as far as, that I remember and think about, actually even to this day, was one that happened recently. And, before I go into the story, because of certain laws, I can't share everything with you. But what I can share, I will change some things to protect, the patient's privacy.
Right.
So, the story. We got a call, and for us, it was like kind of any typical call, suicide attempt. We get into our vehicle, we go to the house, and we run into the room, and it was in the garage where this all happened. And the patient was actually a teenager.
Okay.
And she had already been cut down and was on the floor, and heart stopped, not breathing. We call this a code blue for all those who don't know what, medical stuff. And we work her as a code blue. We do chest compressions, we're breathing for her. We're trying to do everything to resuscitate her. And unfortunately, nothing worked. And we ended up pronouncing her here in the field. And
so you just came in, you thought somebody hung themselves, and
yeah.
you're just, okay.
Yeah, so the typical, hey, this is an attempted suicide. We leave the scene, we clean up our stuff. We later found out that afternoon from the law enforcement, and when they did their investigation, that this was more of an accidental, and that's what they called it. Come to find out, this person was trying to get the attention of another person, and it wasn't quite working out. Don't know the full details, but what she would do is that she was saying, I'm going to kill myself. No response. She'd then get up there and put the noose around her neck. I'm going to kill myself. Still no response. Put it around the garage door railing. No response. But then all of a sudden, you see the officer described it. He says, you see the phone drop, and you see and hear the chair come out from underneath her. Because it was one of those office chairs.
One of the chairs with wheels on the bottom.
Exactly.
And you're not thinking about it, and you're like, oh, here's a chair. This is just, okay.
Yeah. And all of a sudden the chair came out from underneath her, and she dropped. And she hit with so much force that she probably, most likely, snapped her neck and was pretty much kind of gone before we even got there, unfortunately. And so, yes, to answer your questions, accidental suicides do happen.
They do, and I don't think, especially people don't realize how many kids, especially with kids, like the stigma around it, and you're a guy, and we've talked about this before, of like with suicide and the stigma around suicide, like people are seeking attention, and you're going to attempt suicide and take a bunch of pills for attention. And I think with adults and stuff, it's a lot of times a very different case, but with kids, a lot of times it is a case of attention from a family or friends or somebody, and then it goes bad. I mean, I think, unfortunately as a parent, because you're a parent, I have stepkids, that's like your worst thing, because it's not like you're seeing your kids struggling with like true mental health challenges of like depression and anxiety, and it just hits you out of the blue.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. In the 20 years that I've been in the medical field, 10 of that being in EMS, it's probably safe to say 80 to 90% of the teenage suicide attempts that we go to, a lot of times it was just a seek attention. They want help. They're upset, and unfortunately, a lot of those are over friends, over boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever.
And just don't know how to reach out to their parents or talk to their parents like, hey, I'm struggling with this.
Well, and there's no warning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get somebody who's in that deep, dark depression, you kind of get like a little heads up,
Mhm.
you know, because, you know, they send a
Their withdrawal, yeah.
But when it comes to something like this, it's a knee-jerk reaction.
Hmm.
Okay, this boy doesn't like me, so I'm gonna go take these pills. Well, they don't realize that, yeah, this may not kill you right now, but in a few days, it's gonna really fuck you up.
Yeah.
And so, and people just don't understand that. And
You don't realize that just if you are struggling, no matter even what it is, even if it's something small and simple, you think it's small and simple. That's like the shit that actually gets you. Is the small and simple shit. Is just talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
Amazing what it will do.
Communication.
Yeah.